that suck, but also whatever cooks. But if you give us too much shit, we'll just get pissed off and quit. So don't do it. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show, telling you everything that we know. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Here we are, me and my man Matt, going to start off this week's DC Weird Science Marvel Comics. I don't know why I said that.
There is a crossover going on.
I almost said DC Marvel podcast because I was. It is the Weird Science Marvel Comics podcast. And speaking of which, the Batman Deadpool issue, well, released by Marvel, we're going to do it on the DC show. So if you end up wondering where that is, that will be on the DC podcast. If you don't already listen to that, you can go and find that at just look up Weird Science DC Comics. And in fact, I may even get you to do it with me later.
So does that mean that the one that comes out from DC is on the Marvel podcast?
No.
Oh,
no, I'm putting it where I don't want to throw any shade at the people or anything, but I'm going to put it on the podcast that gets more viewers. Is what we're going to do, more listeners. So we're going to do that on the DC thing. But like I said, I forgot to even ask you. I was still going to ask you to do it, but we will be doing it on the DC show. And
that's
boy,
fine. If I start reading now,
issue.
I might finish by
That's
Saturday
what I'm saying.
or whatever.
I looked at it and I'm like, holy moly, what is this nonsense with all these people on it? And it's like some of the creative teams, I'm like, okay, I got it. But then some I'm like, I don't get it. But yeah, I saw some people already throwing shade. The thing isn't even out yet. And people are already like dissing Chip Zdarsky about side. I don't get it. But here we are. For the regular show, I was told by Gray that he will be joining us for a couple books,
nice.
Namely The Hulk.
I
believe, and the Predator kills everybody, including people in the Marvel Universe.
Did that come out this week?
That's what he claims. I don't know. I haven't been paying as much attention. I'll tell you, I'm a little down.
Yeah, it is. That's a good one.
Yeah, we liked that first issue, so that was pretty cool. So we'll be doing those as well. And then, like I said, if you want to listen to me and you possibly, I was even thinking, I was debating on maybe getting a couple people, but that turns into a fiasco. But you'll laugh, though. You know who I was going to ask to be the third person? Brandon from Buffalo.
Brandon. I was going to say that. Yeah, I was.
Suddenly, Brandon's back in. He's reading the
I heard
DC
that. I'm happy
Absolute
to hear.
stuff.
Yeah.
He loves it. And then I sent him the review copy for the Batman Deadpool, and I sent it, and he's like, what did you think? Did you read it yet? And I said, no, it's going to take me like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he must have looked and he said, oh, I see what you're saying. But I was going to ask, we could like backdoor get him back in to the podcast because I don't know that many people would remember Brandon being on the Marvel podcast for years. It was me.
Yeah, get him in, whatever it takes.
So I'm going to try to see. I'm going to see what's going on and maybe we can set that up. It'd be funny. The problem is, though, I say this and I know for a fact the minute that he gets on, we're going to hear clanging of pots and pans. We're going to have nonsense going on, the TV, all that stuff going on, but we'll see. We'll see if we can do it. But here, me and you are going to talk about a book that we usually do talk about. It is The Amazing Spider-Man. Again, I keep getting guff from people who claim suddenly that this book is great. And it is Amazing Spider-Man number 12. It's not great. I don't want to hear any nonsense. And what happens is it's just the lay of the land. It's what I hate about nowadays is the idea that if something's slightly better than the shittiest thing you've ever read, that doesn't mean it's good. And people will say, oh man, this I almost said Chip Kelly. This Joe Kelly book, it'd be funny if it was a Chip Kelly book. This Joe Kelly book's great because it's better than Zeb Wells. I'm like, yeah, Zeb Wells sucked. Like you're setting the bar so low anymore that I don't know what you're doing. But lo and behold, me and you both said that when we had the stuff in space, while it was a little bit of a slog in that last issue, it might be the fun stuff. And then we get to this issue. Because it's actually Peter. Yeah, then we get to this issue, and I realize why I said that I probably wouldn't like a lot of this, because what is it? I mean, you end up having the Spider-Verse family here, and I just think they're there just to be there. Nothing much happens with them just finding out it's Norman and then being fine with it. And I just don't get it. Spider-Boy is like everybody, though. It's just generic. Half the time, I'm like, I don't even know who half these people are.
I didn't know that was what is his name? Miles. Different costume or something. I didn't know they did that.
Who the hell is reading that stupid Cody Ziegler shit? I get enough Cody Ziegler when I see his stupid face in the back.
I got Cody Ziegler when I watched Futurama. The new season just came out. He's like a producer or something. I'm reminded of that every time I turn it on.
Lovely. But this is The Amazing Spider-Man, written by Joe Kelly. Pencils by Ed McGuinness, inks by Cliff Rathburn and Ed McGuinness, colors by Marcelo Menez and Eric Arciniega, letters by DC's Joe Caramagna. And I will tell everybody right now, because I'm sure that my man Matt here was probably waiting for Rick Rapp to show up, and I was waiting. Since you had the Spider-Verse things, I swear to God he was going to show up.
Well, he should, because he's a part of the Spider family, so he should have been welcomed in with the rest of the group.
I was waiting for him to show up, mainly because of Ed McGuinness, and I was
I know.
I think that if he would have shown up here, I might not have been as angry, because I think it would have fit. I think it might have been okay for him to ship, but he didn't. So what we have, though, is the beginning. We have this Mr. Crenshaw, who is the conspiracy theory guy who saw Hellgate come through.
Yeah, he was that
deal.
guy. Yeah.
It's a weird play to just kind of throw this guy in. The problem being is he's talking about alternate universes and things like that, and that what happened was that Spider-Man got hit by Hellgate, and that punch, almost like, what we'll see in a bunch of different things where you kind of punch the reality out of somebody, that's why you have a violent Spider-Man. The problem being is that's not what's going on.
No, I was reading this page. I'm like, is that what's supposed to be happening here? But I guess it's just a dupe.
Yeah, and the weird play
this guy
is
just
we
doesn't
know
anything.
It's not going on, so the dupe would have been better 2 issues ago to say, oh my God, then reveal it's Norman, then say, oh man, yeah, you got us, which asshole Nick Lowe in the back says to one guy. One guy ends up saying, like, this book is bullshit, and Nick Lowe thinks he's got a gotcha because it wasn't really Peter. Still doesn't matter. It's, again, things with first impressions and stuff like that. Most people didn't even realize that it was somebody else or even that it was a mystery. Me and you were talking about it, but everybody I talked to, they're like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, this guy's on with J. Jonah. But again, why play this up this way where the guy's wrong? Now, if Peter himself is in a different dimension, that's not quite the 616, but in space, that still doesn't really do much for this. And if that's the case, I don't know. It'd be weird, but you end up where J. Jonah says, and one thing that I've said before, where people get mad at me and say, oh, you better watch what you say. I'm like, what the hell do I have to watch what I say? I'll go talk to the boss, or I'll walk in the room and look in a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell cares?
It's a podcast. There aren't any rules.
Yeah, so he says, I'm glad that this is a podcast and not the paper, because I can tell you to go to hell, you idiot. And then walks away. It's kind of funny, right? But I don't mind when he has the threats and menace deal. It just comes and goes at points. It's like you don't hear about it for a real long time. Then suddenly it pops up, but it's fun. And he has this guy on because he thought this guy was an expert on Spider-Man. But the weird thing about it is that J. Jonah, you're more of an expert than most people. You know what I mean? Like, he should be there making up, oh, my sources say, but it's really him because he knows so much, more than even he did before.
Well, doesn't he also know Peter, too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the play where he has this guy there with the conspiracy theory is just there so that you can have the scene. It doesn't really do anything. And that's kind of why this issue, while not the worst, and something that is, I would say, is more mid than anything, the problem is, though, by the end, it really doesn't do anything. You end up kind of at the same spot with people speculating, but we know Peter's in space. This is what happened last issue, where they ended up like, it's not where he is, but the question is why he hasn't come back on. That's not the question, because you don't know where he is. It's not like he's in, Albuquerque, but you don't know why he's come back. It's very odd, but you go from there, and then what you do have Joe Kelly seemingly doing in this is you're going to get narration. I'm sure there's going to be some, reviewers, maybe Gabe. I don't know. I'm not sure if AI will give him this, but the idea of Norman, like, deep diving into Norman's feelings, but it just, to me, it's very surface level. It's just the idea of Norman's like, I had this dual personality, but I separated him. But Peter couldn't. Man, that Peter's great. Oh, Spider-Man's the awesome thing, whatever. It doesn't really do anything except show that Ricardo is definitely banging Aunt May. There's no way.
Oh, man, look at her. They're holding hands together. What is that?
Holy moly, I think he just proposed. But yeah, so you have all this play, but nothing's really happening. And you're seeing that Norman is struggling a little because of his gadgets not working. And he's not, I guess it maybe is supposed to show you that he's not really, set to be Spider-Man, but he's doing his best.
Well, this is the first time we're seeing the actual costume, and he has to get like some sort of something so he can stick on the walls and the tech and all that. So it's a little different.
Fine, but it's not really much of anything. It's just him showing. Now, again, this is what I don't understand. He ends up where he has his hand things, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, personal note, extend wall clinger battery life. Why would you ever have it such a little battery life? That'd be like me and you, like, we're going to make the awesome laptop. And you say, well, what's the battery? What should we make the battery life? And I'm like, oh, just make it like an hour.
Yeah.
Like, well, why not make it, at least 3 days? Because you're not going to be doing it. Just, again, it's just there.
Also, it makes me more angry about the he's using Ben Reilly's cuffs or whatever those things are for no reason other than it to be a dupe.
That was just a dupe.
Yeah, he would never use those.
No, he never would.
So that is annoying.
Yeah. And so by the end of the scene, it's kind of funny. Like, he keeps hurting his shoulders and stuff, but he's an old guy. But again, what is it? What happened? There's no advancement of any plot. It's just him going around and, I'm trying my best. I think it's supposed to make us think that he's like, man, he's really doing it, even though he's not suited for it. But I just don't get it. And I don't mean not get it, like not understand it. I'm just not getting the feels of any of this. The idea that he's going to go around and be Spider-Man. Now, I will point out to some haters the idea that we've seen more Spider-Man with Norman Osborn in it than we have in the entire Ultimate Spider-Man series.
That's
I just
true.
want to point that out. But then we go to Ben. Now, Ben, throughout, because we were trying to be duped. They wanted to dupe us. So not at no point did Ben Reilly as Peter Parker say anything that he didn't understand things from the past.
And now he does.
With Brian. Now he does. Because now we know. So now he does. And that's supposed to just end up where I think that they want to piss off Brian. Brian's not going to take it as you're not Peter, I think. It's just going to be like, oh man, you don't care about me because he's like pinkies up or whatever the hell he's, one in the stink, two in the pink. I don't know what he's doing. But he ends up
That's what I thought of too.
There's that girl who's there. Again, this whole thing is just based on science of, you want a room? Well, I'll give you a mushroom. And it's not that interesting.
Looks like they're making a girder out of mushrooms.
Girder out of mushrooms. And this Astrid's like, the myocoteria is not exactly. I'm like, all right. Whatever, mushrooms. Yeah. I do like mushrooms.
Get out of here, lady. Are you contributing anything to this?
Yeah, and remember before, the idea was that she might be a little fancy on Peter and they might date, but you can't do that with Ben.
No.
Ben
he's already hooked up.
Yeah, with Janine. So you're not going to do that. So she almost feels like this was at the last moment they decided to do this, and now you got to kind of fit the pieces in and whatnot. Now, you would think that maybe if Ben was a nice guy, he might try to hook up this Astrid with Brian, but who knows? But even
Brian's a goofball. That wouldn't work.
He is a goofball, but the whole play of this is, them talking about the structural integrity, saying that Brian might not get the science that good, but he's got the bio, you got the science, and then this Astrid's there to be like, okay, stop with the bromance, and I'm like, it's very odd. Then out of nowhere, which we haven't had before, Brian ends up saying, I have the unearned confidence of an American white guy. Like, where did that come from? It seems like that's just, I think it's just there to try to trigger some people. I just thought it was cool. Right? But when you read it, you had to think like, oh, people are going to get mad about that.
Triggering thing. I thought it was funny.
I just think that the guy's a goofball.
And I did want to correct you, though. It wasn't bromance, which would make sense. It was bromant.
Yeah, you need a bromant. I'm like, is that because his breath stinks? But then also he's like, hey, get the Swedish people on the line. And she's like, oh, it's actually a Norwegian deal. I'm like,
same thing.
These are not fun. It's not fun with this back and forth of where the Nobel Prize comes from and the idea of the mushrooms, they're going to cave in. I'm like, I'm not having a good time with this.
Was that what I called Simon last week? Semantic Simon?
Well, I thought it was cynical, Simon. I couldn't remember.
One of those things.
Keep calling them all of them. Semantic Simon would be good too.
I think it might have been that. I was just thinking about it.
Each week we're just going to call him something different.
Poor guy.
Then you end up where Astrid seems like she's like, I'm going to give you your Broman. And that's where you have this thing. And obviously this, hey, give me the pinker. I'm like, I don't know what you think, Peter is, but whatever. But it's a thing that they did when they were kids. And
even
obviously
sus.
Ben wouldn't know that. So Ben, but again, Ben has been hanging with Brian so much now as if he knows everything. And that's where you get a little wacky with what he knows or not. I don't know.
I don't remember. But did Ben have Peter's memories from the childhood?
That's what I'm saying.
Or is it just stuff when he was created?
The problem is, though, they grabbed when you ended up having the Beyond took a bunch of those. He wanted them back. And I don't think he ever got most of them back.
Okay.
Remember, he went and he was trying, instead of going after the Beyond Corporation and that whole dark web, he went after Peter. I'm like, you're going after the wrong guy. So I don't know if he knows anything. If he knows some, it's all wacky. And this might be, again, that somebody got a hold of Joe Kelly and said he wouldn't remember this, and then suddenly he doesn't. But
I also never thought of Ben Reilly as being like a scientist type guy either. I mean, he just seems way smarter than he normally is.
Yeah, he's going with the stuff. And old Brian Nearing he's all upset now. It's just him and his mushrooms now. So you then go off and you have Roderick, who I didn't even know who that was at first.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is that?
Hobgoblin.
Like, what's Walt Disney? But it's Hobgoblin. He's getting out. Again, you're tying up things that are so ridiculously goofy. This ends up being, hey, you're not going to get in that much trouble for your pop soda craziness. He comes out and he says to Norman, hey, you tried to get me, you didn't. Norman reveals to him, like, well, you shouldn't have tried to assassinate me. And he's like, I didn't have anything. Is that what this is about? I didn't have anything to do with that, you jerk. And they kind of pull in together and they're doing the, I'm going to squeeze your hand harder than you're squeezing mine. Both of them look like they don't really care, but they're like, hey, did you send an assassin to kill me? Is that why you did this? Well, don't worry, Normie, which I thought when I first read it, I thought he called him homie. It wasn't me. I'd reserve that pleasure for myself. Then a guy on the other side of the street has that playing back to him like he's taped it, but I'm like, what do you care?
Who's that jerk?
I don't know.
Do you like when people give you a real firm handshake? Are you a fan of that?
No. I'll tell you, I don't have a limp fish handshake. What I have is I get so crazed up about it that I'll go in at a wrong angle sometime.
Yeah.
And so what I do, like an asshole, I blame the other person. I'm like, whoa, first time shaking hands? I know it's me.
I thought handshakes were canceled after COVID, so I just do I do the fist bump now. I still try to. People go, oh, you're a fist bump guy.
How about just a nod?
Yeah, that's cool too. No contact is best.
Did they go like, hey, what are you, fist bumper? Thanks a lot, Obama. Is that what they yelled?
They give me shit. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Fist bump makes sense here.
Yeah. You're like, what's his name? Well, Howie Mandel.
Yeah, exactly.
Germphobe. I just don't like shaking hands because I don't respect anybody. So why would I do that? I hate when people pull you in though for the bro too. That's the worst. I don't like being hugged. But you end up where there's this guy across the deal that it's funny because I guess that's supposed to be a Britney Spears mic, but I didn't quite get what it was. But there it is.
Yeah, so she can do the dance moves. That's why she has the mic.
And it might be one of the tech guys because remember that guy who tried to assassinate him suddenly became like tech, and then Norman beat the shit out of him. Then that guy got sent away. I don't know.
Where's the other guy, Kintsugi or whatever? Where's that guy?
Yeah, who knows? He's fixing pottery. So then we go back and you're going to have this thing. And this is what I'm talking about, where this might fool some of the reviewers or even some readers where you're like, man, it gets real deep with the feels with Norman when he got beat by his dad. I'm like, again, how many times? It's like the idea that if you're reading a Batman book and you see the freaking alley, and, how many times can you see this?
I don't know that I've ever seen Norman's dad doing anything bad, but I just assumed he was bad. Because of how Norman behaves. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, and then Norman was one of those assholes who didn't decide to stop it.
Yeah, he leaned in on it.
You know what I mean? Instead of stopping the hate, he kept it going.
And Harry does it too. Yeah. It's a genetic problem in that family.
Yeah, some people just think, pass it down. That's the legacy. Bad hair. and a bad disposition.
Oh, yeah.
Look at his hair when he was a kid, though. Wasn't as bad.
Then it wasn't, but I think the dad has the same hair, though, too.
Yeah,
kind of.
That's the genetic problem. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to condone violence, especially against, your family. But if you're stuck with hair like that, you're going to be real pissed off all the time.
I would like to correct Marvel because it comes from the mother. So all your hair stuff. So this is inaccurate. Harry and his dad would not have the same hair.
Maybe because, listen to this, maybe Harry. Or
inbreeding situation?
Maybe Norman ends up where he even gets it from he fashioned the hair in to make it look like that. It's not natural.
Or he found a mate that had the same hair. So you can
Gwen
bring
Stacy.
that genes.
There's the weird play when you have that whole play when he's talking about Gwen. I'm like, are you talking about
that was when he was banging her, right?
What?
Yeah.
That's what it seemed, but that was wiped out by Nick Spencer.
It was?
So, Nick Spencer wiped that shit out. So, Norman ends up where he's going around. We already had Ben Reilly like, hey, you're not Spider-Man. You're not Peter Parker. Now we do it again with the Spider-Verse guys. So you end up having Miles and Silk and Spider-Boy and, Aran. You have them all there. Yeah. And even, Gwen. But they end up where they just like, he's not Spider-Man. You're not Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm not, but I'm doing good. No, you're not. You're not Spider-Man. And then at one point you have Silk's like, I can sense that Spider-Man's still alive. And Norman's like, oh my God, really? Thank God. And they're like, is he lying? No, I don't think he is. All right. And then finally he's like choking out Gwen. He's like, oh God, what's going on? Why am I doing around? This? Oh my God. He's just destroying them. At the end, it's legit, at the back end, Nick Lowe in this letters deal is like, I thought that he was going to kill them. I'm like, no, you didn't.
He's not killing. He's a friend of Spider-Man. That's why he's doing
shut
this.
Your mouth. Like the idea that the editor's like, oh my God, I didn't know. Seriously, half of the shit is what you're writing. You could tell. But you end up, he fights him enough, and then he's like, it's me, Norman. Like, oh my God, Norman, you are trying to be better. He's like, I am. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I wanted them to just keep fighting him. I wanted them to take off the thing and say, look, I'm Norman Osborn. They're like, get him, boys, and start just piling on him. But instead, it's just like Spider-Boy's like, is he supposed to be famous? Like, man, he's trying. All this it's a weird play. Norman is Spider-Man. No, I don't think that many people care. You know what I'm saying? I don't see people outraged. I mean, I think the outrage is all outraged out. The amount of outrage that you would have for Mary Jane being Venom, there's not quite the idea of Norman filling in and Ben being Peter. I just don't see that many people upset about it. And this issue all seems to be like, oh, we better justify it with the characters. Ben's okay with it, at least. We'll get the Spider-Verse characters to say it's okay, so then people won't get on. Nobody cares. The problem is that Nick Lowe doesn't realize, I think, and Joe Kelly, that nobody cares about this book that much anymore. You see at the end, Nick Lowe says, yeah, we got Ed McGuinness back on the best book in comics. Nobody's saying that anymore. People are so annoyed. It's not even the best Spider-Man book at your company anymore, according to most people. Yeah. Nobody cares. Yeah. Nobody really cares. People read it because they've been reading it, and less are even doing that now. And lo and behold, like I said, it's a battle of attrition. Just keep pumping out bullshit, and eventually people are just going to accept it. And I think that that's the problem. When people say to me, hey, Spider-Man's pretty good now, again, the bar is so low, they're going against the Zeb Wells stuff, but I think it's more that they're not invested anymore. They don't care. So when they read it, they go, whatever. It's okay. I hear that a lot now. I'm not there yet. I'm not at the point where I'm like, well, it sucks, but whatever. I don't mind because I'm not really loving Ultimate Spider-Man either. I just want a good Spider-Man book, and I still think that the space stuff might be where it's at. That me and you might enjoy that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the space stuff I think will be the best. I don't have a problem with Norman being Spider-Man. I just don't like how they try to dupe us. I think it would have been better to just do it up front.
They duped you by not. It wasn't a mystery that oh my God, it was hard to figure out. They legitimately did things to make you think it was something because it wasn't that great a mystery. I'll tell you, it's amazing to me that the all new Venom, when the whole thing was, oh my God, who is Venom? all of a sudden, once we know it's Mary Jane, boobs show up. Out of like there were no boobs before because you didn't want it to be thinking it's Mary Jane.
Yeah, that's really annoying because it would have always had boobs.
Yeah. And now it does. Now you have some boobs at
now
points.
It's a sexy version?
Yeah, now it's like, oh, now that they know, get out of here.
Does Black Widow still have the suit?
Maybe. So you end up where you have the Ben Reilly. But the weird thing is the dupe is like, the gotcha moment was, oh, you thought it was Ben Reilly, but Ben's only Peter Parker, Spider-Man's the one. And you're like, I think people are just like, whatever.
I would have rather seen like a page where Peter's going through with Norman and saying, hey, if anything happens to me, I want you to take this over. And talking to Ben and saying, hey, you can take over my duties.
Instead of trying to dupe people or something like that.
Yeah, just make it like a little network he established for like backups.
It would have been cool if Ben decided at the same time and they had two Spider-Men that looked exactly alike going at it. And, one being Ben and the other. And that would have been, I thought at some point it could have been the 2099 stuff. Might have been interesting enough. Yeah, you've set that nonsense up. Get Steve Orlando in here. He needs some work. But so overall though, as it was going on, I don't care either way about the idea that it's Norman. I said it on the show. I said there's nothing that you can tell me that who is Spider-Man that's really going to get me that excited. If it's not Peter and you say, oh, it's Flash Thompson with the symbiote combined.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah. That'd be fine. Hey, it's whoever. You know what I'm saying? It's Daredevil. It's what
Daredevil could do it.
Nothing would have made me say, oh my God, that's awesome, or oh my God, that sucks. It's just what it is.
It's just a way to keep his identity going while he's off planet. That's all it is.
It's fine. Yeah. And then in the meantime, you have other things going on, like with Black Cat, who, because he's gone, she's got to step in. It's just whatever. But even when you see the cover, because then it ends with Roderick and he's got some mecha with what looks like those guys that might have been talking before, even with the same deal with the, Six Semper Monstrum. It's not interesting.
Whatever that is.
None of this is even interesting to me. Hobgoblin should be bigger than Soda Pop King and just nonsense. Norman Sarah's Spider-Man, whatever. And it's like, this is a series, or actually, this is just a franchise now that everything that people like, you go against. Norman, Green Goblin. Nope, he's Spider-Man. Peter, Mary Jane. Nope, it's Paul. It's this, it's that. It's never what people want, but yet there's never really been a story for years and years now that is even intriguing. So it's just upsetting. But what would you give it?
I really like Ed McGuinness's art here. I think
it's good.
It's some of the best stuff I've seen from him in years. I think way better than like the Beyond Corporation and all that crap. I think I like how the Norman's costume looks. That it kind of actually looks like a fully realized costume rather than trying to be a dupe. But other than that, I think just for the writing and some of the stuff we talked about, I just give it a 6. I think.
Yeah, but I'm actually a 6 too.
Yeah,
6 as well. I mean, I'm yelling about stuff, but like I said, it's just kind of mid.
I have
the
to
art elevates it up.
It does elevate it because John Romita Jr. is slacking a little bit on this.
Yeah, and we like John Romita.
And I was told we were told that he was the grounded New York Spider-Man artist, but I guess not.
No, I don't know what the hell they're doing. But just in general, it's kind of just upsetting. It's Spider-Man. It's supposed to be. Nobody thinks of it as the big book anymore. Nobody does, and certainly we don't, because we end up reviewing it. And we haven't been above like a 7.5 in a while, I think. But
yeah, it's been a while.
We'll keep going. We'll keep seeing what's up and whatnot. But with that, we're going to go off. Me and Gray are going to talk about the Hulk, which is heading towards a reboot, new #1 with the same creative team, but also the Predator kills the Marvel Universe, which the first issue, that was pretty damn good. So I'm hoping that's continuing to be just as good. But thanks for joining me, Matt. And we will move on to Gray right about now. And we will continue on with Gray. What up, Gray?
Hey, Jim. How's it going? Long time no see.
Yes, a long time no talk here. Last week we had a very quick podcast because we just did one book, but you are back and we're here to do the Hulk and the Predator kills the Marvel Universe. So it won't be that long either because these books are quick. And this Hulk book, you said to me, because we were deciding what we were going to review, and we end up picking the Hulk, and you had read it in basically 2 minutes. It's such a quick read.
How fast is it, Jim?
Oh, my goodness
Unbelievable.
gracious. Now, you said to me a couple times that you didn't get mad about it, but if we had to pay for it, you might be getting mad. Though I think that at this point, at issue 29, I think the only people paying for it would be either super Hulk fans, but maybe just people who like Philip Kenny Johnson. And anytime I say that, people end up telling me that not many people like him. And I think at one point I had a video and I said, well, people really like Philip Kenny Johnson. I like him, just he seems like a nice guy.
I like his Batman
He's
and Robin.
He's a family guy. Yeah, and I like his Batman and Robin. So the idea of it, though, is I wonder if there are just pure Marvel fans. There's going to be people that don't read DC. They just read Marvel. What do they think? Because a lot of the times over at DC, what you keep getting is, oh, that War World saga of Superman was great. Oh, my God, the Superman, it was great. But if you don't have that, how do you think of Philip Kenny Johnson? And I don't know. It's such a meandering
I don't know. The thing is with this, it's the penultimate
here.
issue, isn't it, of his first proper run. So I reckon people who are buying this, they're going to get this, aren't they, no matter what? They want to complete the collection.
Yeah, and then we'll have a
disappointing
new run. The worst is we'll have a new run, same creative team, just a new number one. It's yet another one of those, Marvel, let's do another number one with the same creative team. Again, I think that maybe it could serve this book pretty well to just have a breaking point so that maybe some people who left it before can come back or people who heard it. But it's
a good idea from Marvel, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the others are weird. Like I'm telling you, the Immortal Thor, it seemed the people that were reading that were pretty hyped for it. They kept telling me to read it. Every time I did, I fell asleep. But the idea, you go Mortal Thor, I'm like, yeah, this seems like a jumping off point. We talked about it with Fantastic Four. It wasn't really, oh my God, look how great this new number one is. It just kind of felt odd. But this Hulk book, I just don't get
best thing
how
about
long
it, Jim,
the
the
story
cover
is gone. Yeah, because the
Nick Lang
inside
cover,
art
it's
gets
great.
a little bit wonky.
It does. Some of it's really sketchy.
I thought last issue with Adam Gorham was okay, but boy,
me too.
it's and Danny Earls. The weird thing is they had Danny Earls filling in before, and at first it was really bad. Like when they went down to the bayou, down to the Big Easy. New Orleans. And at first, that was when Charlie got turned into the chalk and things like that. And we went back in time, to see some origins of people who we don't care about. But the idea, it got better. I thought that Danny Earls actually got better.
It did.
And now we have Adam Gorham, who the last issue was okay. This issue falls, oh my God. Some of the art is just really
Get the feeling
bad.
he was in a hurry or something with this one.
And I get the idea where you have Nick Klein is, probably getting ready for the big finale. He's probably also getting ready for the new number one and those sort of things, I guess. But boy, I don't know. At points, maybe you have a delay. It's bad. And you keep having these fill-in artists that just end up showing up and want to try to do Nick Klein. And they're not doing very well. You almost would be better suited to just say, listen, get somebody that has a different style and tell a different story. But the idea of going through all of this and then getting to an issue that should be pretty big. It's a penultimate issue. You're actually giving a little bit of a background. Now, again, this is like the 2-minute warning. You're right, if you understand that football reference. But if you go 29 issues and your big bad is the mother of all monsters, that gets really convoluted in my mind still with the eldest. Everything swirls around. Now we're going to have an origin that just seems like it's like, we got to get that out quick. Oh my God, we're like all of a sudden the 30 issues has snuck up on Philip Kenny Johnson. Oh shit, I didn't think it would be this quick. It hasn't been that quick.
Dude, this lost me. Did this even make sense to you? It didn't make sense. I don't know what's going on by the end.
It's just them walking around, and then the art doesn't help anything. And I kept thinking the idea where there's a wow moment even, and it's not wow when you're like, who the hell is that? Oh shit, I see what it is. But it is issue. And here's where we run into problems. This is something that I talked with Eric back in the day before he became a real prick and left. But the idea of having characters are having a book that you just don't like, right? And it's not that we don't like it, but we're talking a little shit on it, right? But the only ones left reading it are the super fans, so they're going to come and listen and get pissed off at us. It happened with so many books where we would just keep reading and reviewing books past the time that anybody we knew was reading it. So the only ones left are the big fans, and then you really run into the risk of them kind of getting pissed at you. But
we want to like it, though. That's the thing. That's why we've been reading it. There were some good issues. There have been some good issues, but this is like a slap in the face to me.
And I'll tell you, we said this before again, that not many people are even reviewing the book anymore. And I think that this book has hit the wall that is the worst. It's not that the book sucks. It's not great. It's that everybody's apathetic towards it. Nobody cares. And that's the worst. It's just like, what's happening in Hulk? Well, I mean, just the idea, if somebody left at issue 10 and then says to us, hey, what's going on with this? Oh, Hulk is down in the below, and he ends up finding out about the mother of monsters. They'd be like, what? Like, what's happened in the past 20 issues? Did I miss anything? Not really. Not really. And even
at least he found Dr. Voodoo in this, finally. And then just chucks him out. Something just throws him away.
And Charlie was such a big thing of this, almost to the detriment of the Hulk. And then you just kind of push Charlie away, and you set up so much that then that feels weird. It's an odd one, but it's the Requiem Plane Part 2. Philip Kennedy Johnson writing, Adam Gorham on art, Matthew Wilson colors, VC Scory Petit on letters, and yeah, Hulk is being led through the below. I'm going to read
issue 29, Jim, and guess what? Legacy issue 810. Look at that.
There you go. I'm going to read the previously deal so people get up to speed, because I'm going to try to get myself up to speed. But here we go. Hulk is at war with both his human alter ego Banner and the primordial being known as Eldest. In a bid to possess Hulk's flesh, Eldest has been kidnapping people connected to him, including Dr. Voodoo. After luring Hulk to New Orleans, Eldest transported him to the Requiem Plane, the birthplace of all monsters. There he is greeted by his lost love, Betty Ross, who is now serving as Hulk's guide through Eldest's ghastly domain. Now, Betty has shown up occasionally. She did in that New Orleans deal as well, and you end up where she shows up. She's this ghastly bit. Come on, at one point tried to trick Banner. Hey, if you end up, going with the Eldest, we'll be better. She'll fix us. We could be together forever. And then he reveals, oh my God, it's a dupe. Like every time Betty shows up, you know that it's bullshit. And yet Hulk is so stupid to just go with it, or maybe he just doesn't care. I don't know. But the idea that she just keeps leading him around, she keeps telling things, everything doesn't feel in my mind of what Betty would say to Hulk, but there you go. And they start walking through, the below here, and you just end up...
The Requiem Plane. Wasn't that a B-side by Led Zeppelin?
I think it might have been. Singing about Gollum or some nonsense. Also, it just reminds me of Requiem of a Dream, one of the most miserable movies you'll ever see.
Oh, my goodness.
Holy moly. No. That and Kids are two movies that it really got me.
Depressing.
Which, not the Kink song. But you end up, they're going through the Requiem Plane. And the problem in this, it's a huge problem. This is a lot based on horror and horrific art, and the art is not that good. So when you go through it, you don't get any impact in my mind. And it's not just the idea, the drawing. It's the non-detail on a lot of this stuff that you miss out on exactly what is going on. You end up having these monsters, and they're falling apart. You have bugs all over. But everything with the lack of detail, and also the idea that you want to play it, that it's big and immense, but yet the lack of detail doesn't give you that. You end up, at one point, you have Hulk, the dead talk more than anyone, is what Betty says to him as she's like, I don't want to talk to anybody, they're dead. And you have this little panel where you're supposed to be magnifying out the Hulk, but it's because of the lack of detail that you do it, because you wouldn't see him. It's not the idea of the scope of it, because they don't magnify. It just has a square on it. It's stupid. And then
it's just weird, isn't it? It does look weird, Jim. Yeah.
So you just have this lack of detail, even with Betty's no-face Betty in so many of the panels, but they just talking like, what did you see, Hulk? Because he jumped into this,
Betty was saying like
deal.
the dead talk more than anyone. There's no one else talking apart from her and Hulk.
No, she won't
what's she
shut her
talking
damn
about,
mouth.
Jim?
Like, this is why, Hulk's like, this is why we're not together. You yakety yak. So then she says, what did you see? Now, again, we've been waiting for information on the eldest, still Mother of Monsters, what's going on. And everything's just been meandering about for issue after issue after blocks of things, years. And she then says, that's Phylexil, keeper of lost knowledge. These others were her brother, Phyleximon, beast of riddles, and Jurnel of the Iron Lords. I'm like, so you say. First off, I had the worst time reading that than half of the Thor books I've ever read, and that drives me nuts.
Oh, God,
but
yeah.
in that, what did she just say?
Thanks for the names, PKD. Not PKD, sorry, PKJ.
She said nothing. She just said, what did you see? He says nothing, and then she just tells you what he saw, but okay.
You saw Harry, was it Larry, Curly, and Moe?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
What you saw. Go on, Hulk. And then this is like, ask her. Ask her, like, who's he asking, Jim?
It would be great. I don't know. And it would be great if, like, hey, what did you see? Nothing. Well, actually, that was Tom, Dick, and Harry. Wanger is what their last name is. Dick and Harry Wanger. But yeah, they're like, go on, Hulk, ask her. And then all of a sudden you get a panel that looks decent enough. But again, now we're getting lore.
I thought this was a different artist for 1 minute. It's like, oh, this is okay. A bit stylized.
It almost looks like what I would expect in, not the art in the current deal, but it looks a little Conan-esque type.
Yeah, it
art,
does.
especially
I can see that.
With the deal.
The big serpent, Jim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the serpent is what does it. And so they're like, what do the dead ones tell you, Hulk? What do you see? I see Earth when it was new, quiet, gods, nothing else, ocean, deep, peaceful, except there's something down there. I'm like, we are getting nothing. And basically what this whole thing is the idea that God came up and God was corrupted and ended up, destroying all the mother of monsters, all the plane of existence of monsters and all this. But then she ends up making God himself dark. And I'm like, what are we getting here?
I know.
This is, again, the penultimate issue of a book that has just done nothing for so long. And now we're finally like, oh, get this. That mother of monsters and the eldest, pretty bad.
The Mother of Horrors made the one below all, so that we get somebody new, a new thing right at the end here. The one below all. It's like, well, wait a minute. What about the Mother of all horrors?
And that continues the shit from the Immortal Hulk and stuff. But I don't care.
Okay, was it? Okay,
I just want a story. It's just making the idea of like, and that's why we have this hell pit of Gamma. And they got the Gamma, and they did this. I'm like, I don't know.
Next thing we get Shaking Stevens singing "The Green Door." Remember that from Immortal Hulk? I remember
Damn
that.
Right. I ended up having a parody of The Green Door.
Oh, did you?
And, yeah, I'll play it to you. I think it would get banned. It would get us shut down off of YouTube. But yeah, I ended up talking about that. I didn't know what the hell it was, so I did make a parody of that song, which I do really like. That and Sugar Shack are like go in my mind of songs from the back in the day. So then they pull out of this, and it basically just is, oh, that's how the, one below all and the Mother of Monsters and Eldest, but I'm not getting anything from this.
I know.
And they're just moving on.
They're just saying names. That's it.
Saying names and saying, oh, you're here. How many times have we said, and how many times have we known that the Eldest is trying to get the Hulk down below so that they can free the Mother of Monsters? We get it all the time. It's repeated
for at least the
again.
last 20 issues. Yeah.
And then Hulk's like, what? You mean she's alive? Okay. And then she's like, Betty's like, yeah, right over here. She wants you to open the door. I ain't opening shit. And then he just walks away. And then he goes and finds, Brother Voodoo. And again, the art is so nondescript and so non-detailed that when you see him, you don't get
you can
like
hardly
this.
tell who it
shit.
is, can you? No, it's just like a blurry guy.
It's the shock of hair that you end up getting. It's either him or Lily Munster. So when you see him there, though, what you need to have here is
Bride
a
of
horrific
Frankenstein.
look. Yeah. You need that horrific look of, oh my God, he's got to free him. Look how bad. you end up where it looks like snakes and worms are wrapped around to connect them to an upside down kind of pedestal type deal. But it's so non-detailed that it's nothing. You just go, voodoo, which is what, Hulk yells.
Looking for you.
And he's like, looking for you. And then very quickly, Voodoo's like, you shouldn't be here. Why are you doing this? You're not a hero. Hulk, do what Hulk do. And then he rips apart these worms, snake. But again, it's not really good because
he rips them off. Then do they
great.
start attacking him, Jim? Start ripping off the Hulk's flesh. It's weird. It's hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah, Voodoo face plants. That's the best part. He's hanging upside down, and he just
Hulk just drops him. I think that is the bit.
Yeah, and then hey, Voodoo, get up! And he's like, snacking a fractured son of her own, leeching gamma from other mutates, beast as strong as you. Basically, that's all that you get from this issue is this a shocker? That the mother of all monsters and the eldest, they're gathering up other mutates and leeching the gamma. We've known this from the beginning.
Voodoo's pissed with Hulk. He was like, you should have left me where I was. I was fine until you dropped me.
I was fine until I face planted. He was doing like those exercises where you hang upside down and do crunches. He's got a good six-pack. I guess it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hulk is strongest. Yeah, no shit. I want a Voodoo to say, that's why you shouldn't be here. Like, if they get your gamma, it's over. Let the rest of these, mutates rot. But we know all this. This is like shit that we've known. So then you go and you end up, oh my God, what's here? Oh my God, the Arachnus midwives. They're draining gamma off of others like you.
Oh, yeah.
And again, the art is so not detailed. I actually thought that might be Charlie there, but it's actually Betty. So then, lo and behold, the twist is that this wasn't Betty, that it was the eldest and Biggie playing.
What's the deal with the Hulk behind Betty?
I guess, I'm telling you, there's all the different visages of the Hulk, but again, it's not very detailed, so you can't really see it.
Look
that
at the one
well.
on the right, Jim. What's happened to the legs and feet?
Yeah, I know. It looks like Sasquatch. And so you end up where Betty's like, oh, look, you felt eldest hand in this, yes? Yeah, everybody did. You knew this was a dupe. You knew it wasn't bad. Just stop.
Then she goes, here I am, and slices his chest.
Yeah, and slices him, and then you just end up having the spider just kind of reach out.
This is where he drops Voodoo, I just realized, Voodoo's gone on the floor.
Yeah, oh, it's great. And then shoots some, crazy acid breath that to deal some acid venom sort of thing at Hulk's
That's a pretty
face.
cool scene.
It goes away. I think that you had Adam Gorham spent 3 weeks doing this one face and then ended up not having time for everything else. But again, it's just a weird fight with this monster. And then Hulk ends up, as he's kind of getting melded apart. That
he gets a bit Daniel Warren Johnson-esque, doesn't it? Here, it's not as good, but he's that kind of kinetic flowing. And listen, when
the art is doing a really poor job in letting us know what's going on, doing a really, really, I think, awful job in helping with the storytelling, you do not need a panel where it's a hand grabbing an arm. You don't need that. Give me the overall thing. You finally got to this fight between Harpy and Hulk, and you pull in the camera so close that you don't even see what's going on. I mean, that's the thing. Art is one thing, and this art's bad. But the idea of how the choreography and the camera angles are just god-awful. I said it before, when you pulled out so far that you didn't get any detail on those 3 monsters, Mo, Curly, and Larry. And then you go to here where you're right there with a cool fight, and you pull in so much that you see a hand and an arm. You see a shoulder. At one point, you see Hulk's shoulder. I guess it's his shoulder and his hand. I just realized that. That's how bad it is. And then their faces next to each other, and then an arm. I
thought they were going to kiss here, Jim. Like, go on,
at one
give
point,
us a kiss.
She got real ugly. Hulk slams, Betty, but not Betty, into the ground, but you don't even see her.
No, we don't see it.
Why are you more concerned with the Hulk's arm? That's not good. It's not good. Then you end up where Hulk is getting he rips off those tentacles from the spider, but you're going so far into that you don't get that. Then you see an eye. Holy Jesus! I don't know what's going on in this, and I mean I don't know what's going on in this, and it's just a fight. So they're just fighting. Boom, boom, boom. Then at one point you see this spider now looks like, because of the camera angle, looks like it's 2 inches big.
It does. It looks tiny here.
It looks so tiny. Also, it looks like it's like some weird, like transforming bug toy. It's bad. And then you end up where Hulk and all this says, all flesh is my birthright, fractured son. This is the eldest saying. I wore the harpy only to lead you here. Okay, we know
so
this.
The eldest was disguised as the harpy, basically.
Yeah, it's the harpy. Thanks a lot, Pete and repeat. And then says, that I might take the green fire, I need it from you. I legit, I don't know what's happening in that panel.
What is this panel here,
I don't know
Jim?
what that panel is.
No idea.
I have no clue. There might be fists at one point. It might be a mad ball.
I think there are 2 fists. That's all I can make out. Yeah, it's a mad ball. It's a whole mad ball. Thing.
Right before we recorded, I believe I took a dump that looked like that. And my dump looked better. I think I should have taken a picture, send it to Aaron Gorham or whatever the hell his name is. Then the Hulk smashes down on the ground. Okay. And then says, and now I have done it. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And then at the end, you're like, oh, there. And it says, Hulk versus the Abomination. I'm like, whatever you say. And it's still the spider behind with suddenly it's got 8 trillion people. Just whatever.
Face your death at last, fractured son. Usher in the Age of Monsters. It's like, we've been ushering this Age of Monsters in for like 20 issues, Jim, but he still isn't here.
I think I heard that statement in issue 3.
Yeah.
Hulk should say, really? Because I don't think that I really have to react yet. I believe that 3 years from now, maybe. But right now, bullshit. It's I hate to say it because it got me mad when we were talking about it, because again, it's one thing to just flip through it and maybe get mad that you got, duped by, getting this and paying the money, because if you aren't buying it and want to, just wait for it. Well, I'd say wait for it to hit the app if you can. Even if it was like you get a free trial, you could go through these issues or just wait till it's in trade. But issue to issue, it's highway robbery. There's nothing here. And you can tell by the end, this is the culmination. This is the penultimate issue of an entire 30-issue run. Again, it will restart with the same creative team, but this is the big story. And you don't have anything to do or say except, oh, by the way, that Mother of Monsters and the eldest, well, let me tell you a little bit about them because we're going to end it next time. And then Hulk is just, fighting and just hitting a spider and then hitting Betty, who's not Betty. This is bad.
Jim, check this out. There's one
bad
review on League Comic Book Geeks, and it says, it's quite positive. I feel like this has been the most consistent run that no one is talking about.
Yeah, nobody's talking about it because it's consistently boring.
So at least someone enjoyed it.
Right. It has been consistent. It's like, I'm telling you, my score will be a little lower for this, but overall it's like a 6. There's peaks and valleys in my mind, but the idea that it's never been a 2. It's never been, in my mind, a 10. It's very consistent. Consistent mid is what it has gotten into. But if you are that's the best thing. If you are liking it, it hasn't changed. Like, you're going to keep liking it, I guess. But I just feel like when we talk about Marvel, and I ask people, I've said this before, when you say, oh, what's your favorite? What are the good books at Marvel? Not even your favorite. What are the good books? And people will say, oh, the Hulk is good, but they always have to say but. But it really doesn't progress that fast. It's a long story that kind of meandered in a bit. It's a lot about there's a lot of butts. I like butts. I like big butts. But I don't need a book where I need something. I mean, this is Marvel in a nutshell. You ask people what the best Marvel book is, a lot of people will say The Ultimate Spider-Man. But there's not a lot of Spider-Man in it. There's always a but. These butts is what this is. This smells like a butt.
There's always a butt, and there's not enough sexy butts. That's what I say.
Exactly. I mean, you might see the Hulk's butt in here, but I wouldn't know the difference between the Hulk's butt and a crack in the wall here. Because I swear to God, I saw, oh, there's the Hulk's butt. It was a crevice in a crevasse. Ay. And this just got me awoken. I ended up, I was pretty tired when we started. But what would you give it?
Yeah, it's what you said, Jim. It's just, it sums it all up. It's right. It's kind of a nothing issue. It's not like piss me off enough to give it an FU, but I'm just a 5 out of 10, a plain 5.
I'm a plain 5 out of 10 as well. This is the problem.
I feel bad. I want to like this.
There are times where you read stuff and it feels like the idea of coasting to just be a 5. Like, I guess in this day and age, one of the better things is just to not write things that piss people off, but this isn't enough. And then at the end, you get the remembrances of the eldest, the Mother of Horrors Part 2. This has become the Philip Kennedy Johnson thing. You always have this yipping and yapping at the end. You have these things going. He does it all the time now. He did it in the new Book of L. I don't need it. I want the story in the comic.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to have this.
It's
right?
the idea. This is what my man Reggie used to say before he died, R.I.P. He's probably down there. He's probably one of these guys, with this spider. The idea is if these comic writers could write novels, they would. Like he would say it all the time, whether you agree with it or not. But again, if I want to sit there and read prose and text, I would. But I don't. I like comic books because it is a combined visual and, writing. It's all that combined that I like. It's in and out. And yet he just wants to write novels at the end. Nonsense. But we're going to continue on with The Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, a book that most people are happy that we liked the first issue. And we did. It was pretty cool. You ended up having real stakes. You ended up having people dying. This issue, again, you're going to have these things where an issue's just going to be, hey, let's have them actually just kill a bunch of people. And that's kind of what this one is, setting up things and showing you who is dead. But it is written by Benjamin Percy, pencils by Marcelo Fierro and Daniel Picciotto. Inks Jay Leiston and Daniel Picciotto. Hey, I'm a real boy. Picciotto. Colors by Frank D'Armata and letters by VC's Clayton Coles. I'm telling you, I butchered all of that, just like The Predator. See, it all works out. But last issue, you just had the Predators come in with Kraven and just start wrecking house. They do that again in this issue. I don't know. This
last issue was it the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Fantastic Four. They were taken out, weren't they, Jim? Big time.
And I like the idea that it finally in these, you're like, holy shit, like this really does have some stakes. Even if it isn't really happening, even if it is like an Elseworlds, sort of thing like that. But that's
Rocket Raccoon stakes. How'd you like it? Medium? Well,
we have all this going on. And it's funny too, because I start getting mixed up with Rocket in the ASM now. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's dead. But in the meantime, you do have the Predators all coming in, and they're under the guise of the Milano. You ended up having the ship of the Guardians of the Galaxy coming into Earth to kind of, finagle in. In the meantime, you're going to slice and dice a lot of people. And I thought that the first issue did a better job of giving the idea of surprise, and they needed that. You know what I mean? Like they snuck up on the Fantastic Four. They snuck up on the Guardians of the Galaxy. In this, there's parts where I don't know. I kind of think that there'd be detection of them, things like that they don't really make it clever. They make it just tech. It's just them being cloaked, coming in to slice and dice. But you do get some, if you want to see legit Predator kill the Marvel Universe, you get it again, which
That's
is
what you
pretty
get.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But this
you get exactly
issue,
what it says on the tin, don't you, Jim? With
exactly.
This?
So sometimes you'll never get that. So you do get that. So kudos to Ben Percy. But
that kind
I
of
just
thing, I
don't
don't know
know.
about you. That can get boring, can't it? Quickly. Yeah, that's the problem with this kind of thing.
By the end of this issue, I'm not bored yet, but at the end of the issue, I'm like, ooh, we need a little more. Like the shock value of seeing the Fantastic Four go down. And it seemed like Sue might still be alive, but the idea of, the Guardians of the Galaxy, oh my God. So doing that, either you're going to have to come up with, okay, it's a horror deal, right? We're playing a horror movie. It's action, but it's the horror. You need to come up with what horror movies have to have. Is the unique kills that you're like, oh my God, you got to see how, whatever, Cyclops got killed. Oh my God, you got to see how this guy. And you don't really get that. You just get them coming in, right?
Yeah. You get little snatches or little glimpses, and it's not even clear. I wanted more of these fight scenes. These are big moments, aren't they? But you miss it.
And the weird play is you start out where, well, you see the amount, like there's predators out the wazoo coming down here. They're following the Milano and they're cloaked. So they're going to try to come in there, and it's, for a few days to thrill. But while you have that, like, again, where's all the detection even from the beginning? And you could tell me, oh, well, it's cloaked, it's this or that. Doesn't work that well for me that this amount of ships are coming in and where's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Where's Ruben? Ruben's got to tell me what
Ruben.
S.H.I.E.L.D.'s up to because I think they're asleep at the wheel.
Where's anybody?
Yeah. So they come down and you get Charles and Magneto. They're sitting there, the standard. There's nothing. And that might be the other thing about it. They're always playing chess. These guys,
They always do that,
guarantee you, they reveal later, they don't even know how to play. They're just there moving
I love the way
shit
Magneto's
around.
like fully costumed up, not just the helmet, but everything. Look at him.
And again, because you have that weird play to set it up, and he goes, listen, I have my helmet on because I don't want you to, read my mind and try to control me and shit. No, it's because you're going to end up getting attacked. And you end up where Charles hears, it's almost like Obi-Wan.
It's Ben Kenobi, isn't it?
Yeah,
in the Millennium Falcon.
It is. That's what it is. He's like, I just heard a million voices snuffed out. So he gets the pain of the Fantastic Four, not the Guardians of the Galaxy, because he doesn't care about them. But you end up where suddenly, as they're talking, and again, it's this play of, humanity hates mutants. You know that, Charles? Yeah. But get this, Magneto, mutants hate humanity. Oh, my goodness, we'll never come together. Oh, my goodness. And he's like, that's why I wore my helmet, because I don't want you to convince me that I'm wrong. All right. And then, boom, Charles is like, oh, no, something's wrong. I just felt a lot of love being snuffed out. And then all of a sudden, what you get is Magneto's being pulled out, I guess, magnetically. But the idea doesn't play well in the art. And I
wasn't
really
sure what was going on here.
Yeah,
Jim.
and it's almost like the idea. What it reminds me a lot of horror. It reminds me of the game's Half-Life, when you'd have those crazy huggers come from the down and get you and zip you up to the roof. But it didn't really play out very well. All you keep doing, though, is saying, oh, it must be predators doing this, but they're using this anti-magnetic inversion magnet to bring him up into space, and you never really get a really good death.
There's no setup. There's no payoff even. It's just like suddenly he's on the roof and he's disappearing, and we're told he was at the top of the kill list.
And I guess that he gets into like space almost, and he just kind of falls apart and gets ripped apart because his helmet gets. It just didn't play out very well.
It's not clear, is it? We're not even sure if he's dead at the end. He's just like, he's got one eye open, one eye closed, blood coming out of his nose.
Because they say his magnetic powers would be a threat to the fleet coming down, so we take him out first, and then you end up having the Predators. And I'll tell you, like some of the Predators close up, they look pretty cool. You have the helmets and stuff like that, but a lot of times you don't really get it.
One here looks like a samurai helmet, a kind of futuristic one. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
But again, I just didn't. I thought the art was okay. It wasn't great. And then you end up where S.H.I.E.L.D. HQ, and you end up having, the dupe here. And the weird play is that usually what the Predators end up doing is, back in the day, I'm not real up on my Predator lore. I've talked about the idea.
I'm not either.
I saw Predator 1 and Predator 2. Which I liked. I haven't seen anything since. But a lot of the comics, even the Batman versus Predator, where we have this, the Predators end up repeating a catchphrase. A lot of times they'll go by and hear like Crazy Eddie, you got to buy this. And they'll just keep repeating that. And it becomes kind of a funny horror thing where when you hear that, oh, God, the Predator's here, whatnot. But they end up calling up to the Milano and say, hey, what's going on? And they're going to use the idea of mimicking Star-Lord's voice, from the one time he screamed? You came in and sliced it. It's like, hey, this is Peter Quill with the Milano. Or maybe I should have introduced myself as Star-Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Star-Lord.
I've never seen now again. Like I said, somebody will be like, oh, it's too much. It's like, hey, it's Star-Lord. Hey, Star-Lord, what's up? I don't know. I'm in town for a few days. Can you tell me where I can get a rub and a tug in this town? Like, I want to get some tail.
Surely
that's what I want, right?
He sounds a bit off. He sounds a bit weird. Why is he saying it like that, Voice ID checks out.
Voice ID checks out, but the radar doesn't match up with the Milano specs. Now, in that, I guess, because they're kind of, it's not the specs. It seems like what he's saying is there's a lot of shit flying around him.
All these cloaked ships, yeah.
That Milano.
Messing with the radar.
That Star-Lord, he's always fixing that shit. Boy, the original is God. I'm like, okay. You're just making up a weird way to
permission
get
to
all
dock.
the Predators
Permission granted. That was quick, Jim, wasn't it? Yeah, no checks.
Exactly. Now, if Ben Percy had the sense of humor that I know he doesn't have, like he doesn't. I'm telling you, this guy is. When you see interviews, the guy is so sourpuss. You should have had the guy say it's an old code, but that checks out because that's every Star Wars. It's always somebody having an old code, right? You already had a Ben Kenobi moment. Just go with it.
I was just about to clear them,
hey,
sir.
again, yeah, you have her come over and say, what's going on? Well, I was just about clear. It's an old code, but it still checks out. And you should have just had that wink, wink and say, oh, my God, then I don't know what you go for, because it's just to let them in. And so then we go over to the Weapon Plus facility in Virginia. And a lot of these things I said in the first issue were cool because things meant stuff. We're like, oh, man, I read all these issues. It's cool to see some callbacks. In this, you did see this lady who went to the Weapon Plus facility to check it out. Like, I've been told to come here. We're not getting the results. Things are going. You ended up looking like she was going to get killed by this Wolverine Predator, the Weapon X Predator. But it was a dupe. The guy was just like, and here we go. This is like the worst demonstration ever. She goes in, this thing's about to looks like it's going to eat her at one point. He goes, see,
It does.
I told you we were doing stuff. I think that she's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. Reporting your ass. But they're like, all right. And they say, we got this Predator and we mind wiped him. Now he belongs to me. It's okay.
It's about to kill her, like you say, Jim, isn't it? And it's only Dr. Cornelius, his voice, who stops it. You know, that's a bit risky, isn't it?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This isn't a great demonstration there.
No.
Why is it anytime you get a Dr. Cornelius, they're always sus? But you end up where you have this whole play then is a reminder that there is a Weapon X, Predator. So we get the reminder. Then we move on. Then you get this page that's supposed to be this big deal where I'm like, why are the X-Men fighting the Sentinels?
I know. I was like, wow.
But again, what was weird about it is normally, in my mind, you'd have this as at least a 3/4 top of a spread page because it is big and then have some stuff on the bottom. But instead, these Predators show up. And this is, again, the idea that there's, Cyclops goes, hey, what's going on? I see these weird things here that I don't think are proper. I'm like, really?
Well, look at him.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
what's he doing there?
This should be obvious that it's not that. And then Peace is like, well, actually.
They're all staring, like rubbing the chins. Oh, how curious.
I love it. He's like,
Jim?
how curious. Indubitably, I think that there might be problems. Perhaps a lightning storm has surged our system. No, bitch, they're real. And they end up just again, the big thing of
Spike Club took Cyclops' chin and it's gone, Jim.
Yeah,
his
gone.
jaw is gone.
So he's done. But again, is that a great kill?
No, again, there was hardly any setup.
Yeah, no. Then
it's
we
just
go
like,
up.
oh, okay.
Yeah, this is now what the problem with these books too. Like you said, they can get bored, but it's also the idea of like everything is like boom, 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 and you don't really get to settle in. But I guess they want to kill a bunch of people so that then we can get the resistance group of who would be left, which I don't know. But you end up in Avengers Tower. You have Hawkeye, Steve, and Black Widow. They're shooting pool. They're sitting there, and all of a sudden the Milano comes in, and everybody wants to talk shit on Star-Lord and crew. The Guardians are just, because Steve's like, oh, man, you were complaining about it being a quiet night, Hawkeye. Things are sure to get rowdy with the Guardians in town. Oh, my God. Those 4 or 5 guys, whoo-wee. They cause all sorts of problems. I'm like, what problems are you talking about?
We've got some cold ones ready for you.
Yeah.
Who's thirsty?
They're worse than a naval carrier for ensigns on shore leave. Again, that's why I left. I'm like, they get up and say, where am I going to get a rub and a tug? I'm here to get some tail. That's all the deal. No, they don't. Like, seriously. So they're going to come out and they're going to go greet them. And when nobody comes out, they're like, I have a bad feeling about this. And they attack. And I mean, I'm guessing.
That's pretty cool, Jim. Even though the art's not great, there's one small panel where you see them just starting to materialize behind Cap and Natasha.
Them.
That's not bad. But where did they come from? Did they come out of that ship?
Yeah, they came out of the ship or another one because there was all those other ships and they're cloaked. But that's just the thing, is they're just cloaked.
Then Cap's dude is his best Admiral Akbar. It's a trap!
Yeah, it's a trap! I'm like, oh, God, see, we have too many. We have Star Wars when we don't want it, and we don't have it when we need it. But
right.
So you have them fighting. Right away, I'm like, Hawkeye, you are so dead. There is no way that you are fighting.
Left punching one in the tummy, and the Predator's like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like he's gotten the gut.
He got quite a good hit in there, Jim, didn't he?
Cap might be leaping at the guy, but he's doing like a spread your arms fight. It's weird. But in the meantime, I guess you can assume they died.
But yeah, we don't get any payoff again.
We don't get it.
To Bruce Banner in a lab.
And if the fact of the matter is that we see later that in fact these 3 are captured, and they're hanging in the ship or whatever. I'll call bullshit. There's no reason to do that. You would assume they're dead. So the next thing, and it's, it's
take no
crypt-
prisoners, right? As far as we know, they take like souvenirs, don't they? They take skulls.
Yeah, they'll do that. Now Craven, he's kind of leading them in here, which it feels a little off as well. But he's there talking about the hunt. So in that, he says there were several others at the top of the kill list, but maybe none was a greater priority than Bruce Banner. Well, then why didn't you go there first? But you got Magneto, who you said was the big one for the fleet. But if the next one's Banner, go get Banner. But instead, what he basically says and what this issue ends up being is, yeah, you can tell me and say, Craven would say, listen, I don't fight an injured guy. I'm there for the hunt, the best hunt ever. So I'm not going to fight the weakling Banner. I want to fight the Hulk to prove that we're great. There's no reason for it. He ends up saying, what was the line? He says, and Craven and his hunting party would get only one shot. It says, Craven knows very well that you don't stalk a bear. The Hulk, you bait it. The Hulk had been baited. And why? Why don't you just go in? You want to just slice, and then
should have killed him when he was in his Banner form, right?
Just kill him any sort of way. And then keep going with it. Set it up. Don't just go in and throw bloody Steve Rogers, a shield there. Go in with something. You ended up making a anti-magnet deal to get Magneto. If you have planned this out enough, I would assume that with the tech they can kind of come up with an anti-gamma, a gamma gun, something like that.
Stun him or something.
To then get him stunned and go with it. But I love the idea that if Craven comes in with that, skull on, then takes it off and looks surprised. Oh no, the Hulk! Oh, no. I would have never have thought. Who would have known that? Who would know that triggering Banner would lead to the Hulk?
Who knew
I don't
Bruce
get
Banner
this.
was the Hulk? Well, we do now.
So you get this whole.
I think the last page with Craven, he looks really weird.
Yeah,
Look
at that look. His finger, it almost looks like he has less fingers. They're weird positions.
He does.
Right?
Looks a bit AI, Jim. I know it's not. I'm just joking about the
because it would probably look better. At that point.
Ooh.
But even look at his other hand looks like really odd fingertips.
Yeah.
And then with the other one, he's either cramping up or he's doing gang signs that's going to get him killed in Compton. He's going to be in big trouble.
Straight out of Compton. Craven's head.
You barely get a good look at the vest, and that's what he's so proud of. But yeah, the art's not great in this issue. It really doesn't.
There's some good scenes, but some of it looks very rushed.
Like you said, the big thing or the wow moments, you want to get out of this, even if it doesn't have much of a progression of the story. It's just kill, kill, kill. But you want to be able to say, oh my God, like somebody says, what's up with this book? And like, man, the first issue was crazy. I didn't think they were going to kill people, but the Fantastic Four and the Guardians of the Galaxy get killed. And in this issue, wait till you see the kills. Like, man, they're crazy. Wait till you see how they kill Magneto and
but what do you
Rogers
see with the X-Men?
America.
All you see is Cyclops get clubbed to the face. You don't see anybody else what happens to them unless that's going to be continued the next issue.
When you call it,
it's really
Predator
weird.
kills the Marvel Universe, okay, you want to have them kill the Marvel Universe.
Behind the scenes or between the panels almost.
You want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. You want to see it because you're not seeing it.
I didn't like this as much, I think. But again,
I think
this might be one of those
issue
where
one.
It might play out better in a trade, but this issue is definitely something where when they say that, and I rarely say because I don't read in trade because I've already read the shit, but you end up where you'll get an issue where you go through and you realize, oh shit, I just read through issue 2 and I didn't really realize that it was a full issue there. It just is like a segue to the next part. So I'm sure that that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But there's some classics that we haven't seen. I think Venom will become something bigger because of the space connection. Things like that. You'll end up having stuff like that, but we'll see how it plays out. But what would you give it?
Got to shout out the cover by, is it Lenil Francis Yu as well? The cover's really good. I wish the art was like that all the way through. But anyway, it's not too bad, but for me, disappointing. You feel like a lot of the kills, which is the whole point of this, were happening between panels or between pages. Didn't get much payoff, did we, Jim? So it's a step down. I don't remember what I gave issue 1, but I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10.
I think you gave it an 8.5.
Wow.
I think we both gave it something like that. I thought
Bloody hell.
I think you were high. But I'm going to 6 as well. It's not horrible. It's just,
it's not
feels
horrible.
like you're missing out on things.
Disappointing because you want Predator killing the Marvel Universe. You want to see it and experience it. Feel it a bit more,
Very odd. Very odd. And I was going to say something and now I can't remember what it was.
There are 4 issues listed here. We'll just say that. So I guess we're halfway through.
And you're just you're just not. What you're doing in this issue is like a laundry list of who we're going to get out of the way so that we can get to the story of who's left. So, and it's just what it is. It's just not great. But that's it. That's it for the show. Thank you for joining me, Gray. I just realized that at one point I was loading up your song and I didn't fully do that, so I got to get that now. But in the meantime, thanks everybody for listening. Don't get too angry at me. Everybody can get angry at Gray. That's fine. But don't get angry at me.
I'm just a Japanese AI, so I don't feel anger.
Yeah, we want to like the books, but just some of these are just not great. And there's so many books that come out from Marvel, and yet, lo and behold, not a lot of them are great right now. But I just want to remind people that the Batman Deadpool book, that'll be on the DC podcast. So if you don't listen to that, there's a link in the show notes. Also, you could just look up Weird Science DC Comics. And even I say that not realizing that it actually might be on our Patreon spotlight. So I should mention that too. It may be on. Check it out.
Jim, it's weird, isn't it? I was like double checking because someone was asking me about it. And this is called Deadpool Batman. And then there's a Batman Deadpool coming out in November that's written by Grant Morrison with art by Dan Mora.
That's what they did back in the day when you had the Marvel versus DC.
So it's like Marvel releasing this one and then DC releasing it.
We would just have them all.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good.
So with that is it. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Gray, for joining me. And we'll talk to you guys later.
"私はもう本性の愛です」「私にからかわないでください」「そうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます」「私は普通の男です」「でも私はあなたを殺します」「だからそのまま受け取って」